Is a man less of a man if he can't change a flat tire?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The psychological concept is what is a man? More specifically, what is a man's gender role and expectations? The interviewer asked, is a man less of a man if he can't change a flat tire? What the women heard is, would you feel more or less secure if your man couldn't change a flat tire? The answer provides a clean zero to security, which cascades through the rest of the formula. No security offered equals the perception of being less of a man. But don't forget to ask yourself, how much does it matter what women think about what a man should be? How much does it matter what the Lord sees when He looks at your heart? There are two indicators that they are responding out of their default mode. First is the lack of visible signs of thinking they put into it. Second is the tone of their voices, especially the second one. Do either of their tones align with this description? The imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's eyes. Now ask yourself, if you did meet a woman that had a gentle and quiet spirit, how would she answer? Would she be embarrassed when she was asked to define her expectations? Would she be kind and say, I'm sure if he didn't know, he could simply find out on the internet? If you were meeting these two women in person, the alarms in your head should be going off. They are clearly in their default mode. Your next task should be trying to figure out how long have they lived in this default mode, and how much they have tried to overcome it by living for others above themselves. Don't be surprised if the answer is nearly their entire life. This is one of the core reasons feminism became so powerful. It's how women were raised. They were spoiled, unlike any generation before. Fathers raised daughters they would despise dating and refuse to take any form of accountability for it, which prevents any progress from being made.
Is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch?
We're biased, we're women.
The psychological concept is, what is a woman? More specifically, what is a woman's gender role and expectations? The interviewer asked, is a woman less of a woman if she can't cook a meal from scratch? What the woman heard is, can you cook a meal from scratch? If not, does that make you less worthy of having the title of being a woman, one of the two most protected and privileged societal classes in Western society, alongside children? This question attempts to put a gender role expectation on women similar to the previous question. It also requires a woman to have a certain level of competence in cooking. Neither of these things makes a woman feel more secure, especially if she can't cook a meal from scratch. But the key is that it's an expectation, and any form of expectation makes things harder, which doesn't make women feel more secure. Resulting in the same cascading effect to occur, it is a zero. This time, there are visual indications of thinking, but what was she thinking about? Was she evaluating herself through the same lens she just evaluated men through? Was she thinking, maybe I need to change to be fair? Or was she thinking, how can I escape this question without giving up any negotiation power? The last thing I said should be your expectation due to what we've seen and heard so far. It's likely that these two women are lifelong conversational escape artists and have been allowed to do so without any meaningful consequence that they can see. But a more important question to ask yourself is, what would a woman with a gentle and quiet spirit be thinking of? The first woman responds with, we're biased, we are women. And if you listen closely, you can hear the privilege, you can hear the pride as she responds with an indirect, partial truth. It's a commonly used shield, even though she just gave a confident, direct response with what she believed the pure truth to be when the question was about men. Her reasoning is simple and common. Because we are women. We don't have to make sense. We are allowed to be biased because society protects us. It's all about us. All these things make us feel more secure. But do you think she is considering what this mentality does to her heart? Is she considering the societal impact of this level of selfishness? Women tend to have a way of ignoring the big picture because their feelings cloud the parts that feel insecure. Is she considering that this type of thinking is the pathway to more and more women becoming black holes of consumption? What happens when the collective belief of men in a country agrees that women are no longer worth it? What's left to fight for? Is this how empires fall? Has God and those who follow God always built societies, while it's been the collective default consciousness of women that has destroyed them? Now let's get to the most important part: shame.
No, that's not a good answer.
She uses guilt to make her friend feel bad about her answer, without giving any details to why it is not a good answer. Kind of like how the devil is known as the accuser, but never takes any form of accountability for creating the methods he accuses people of. This is a mild example of how women use shame amongst themselves to force collective compliance towards the ideal of always fighting for more security above all else, even if it's just words. But remember, for many women, everything is a negotiation. So when women say one of the many variations of "it's not enough," that's just them saying it to keep their negotiation position in the most favorable location. Words are cheap, but they are effective at slowly changing social norms that eventually tilt the scales and become powerful forces of leverage. It's all part of the destructive mindset that everything is a negotiation so that I can get more for myself.